Hello everyone, welcome to Mocking Sapien. My name is Tanay and today we are going to talk about the Supreme Court and the farm laws and whether the decision they took was right or wrong, and also the Godi Media. How can we forget the Godi Media, who is doing true reporting, like bestest reporting. Almost 2 months are up for the farm protests. Actually 2 months at the borders of Delhi, but 2 months prior to that also protests were going on in Punjab. But at the Delhi border, it's approximately 2 months, and in the first 38 days, 60 farmers lost their lives, either due to cold, due to heart attack, due to suicide, and it's an extremely bad situation. The negotiations between the farmers and the government are at a deadlock and no one is backing down, so the protests are still continuing. But then the Masiha of democracy decided to enter into this matter and take it into its own hands. The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court came and gave a karara jawab to the government and said that if you all don't put a hold on the farm laws, then we will. Kya baat? And then went ahead and put a stay on the farm laws. But now, whether you guys support it or don't support it, the stay on the farm laws, the Supreme Court has crossed a line here. It is taking up the job of the executive, which is not its area at all. It can't put a stay on the laws just like that. Like, obviously it has a provision in which it can, but that is very rarely exercised. Over here, it has entered in and it has put a stay without a single hearing on the merits and demerits of the farm laws. Without a single hearing. Supreme Court apna bhai kaam chhod ke, they are doing mediation between the farmers and the government, where it's not its job at all. Like, क्यों घुसड़ना है उधर, क्या पता. So what the Supreme Court did was they set up a committee saying that this committee will solve this whole farm laws ka issue, and the work will start in 10 days, and in the end of 2 months they'll submit a report. This committee I will talk about a little later in the video, but let's first get to Godi Media. So after this whole thing happened, Supreme Court put a stay and set up a committee. The Godi Media is like, abhi aur kya chahiye tumhe? You wanted a stay, right? You got your stay. You idiots, you anti-national, how don't you all get it?
जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कृषि कानूनों के लागू होने पर रोक लगा दी है, तो ये अड़े क्यों हैं?
अड़े क्यों हैं?
कनाडा से आए हुए किसी नेता या टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग के किसी सदस्य को अपने बीच में ले आएंगे, मगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कहेंगे आपके साथ हमारा कोई लेना देना नहीं है. तो आपका मकसद क्या है? व्हाट इज योर इंटेंशन?
What is your intention? What is the conspiracy behind what you all want to do? Tell me.
और एक सवाल मैं फिर पूछता हूं, खेत में काम कर रहे किसानों से नहीं, प्रदर्शन कर रहे किसानों से. कहीं ये मामला 26 जनवरी का तो नहीं है?
आखिरकार जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट समाधान चाह रहा है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट कह रहा है कि हम इन कानूनों को पर रोक लगा रहे हैं, उसके बाद भी समाधान क्यों नहीं कोई चाहता? क्या है मंशा?
तो ये किसान संगठन कान खोलकर मेरी एक बात जरूर सुन ले. अगर दिमाग के किसी भी कोने में कुछ ऐसा सोच रखा है, वो हम होने नहीं देंगे, और देश से बड़ा कोई होता नहीं है.
There hasn't been any building up of trust. So is the communication the problem, or is the intention the problem? That people who are the farmer groups or leading these farmer groups and the others who are inciting them do not want a solution to come up.
There, Navika has cracked the code. नहीं, solution मांगते ही नहीं है farmers को, उनको तो कुछ काम धंधा है ही नहीं. हमें तो सिर्फ प्रोटेस्ट पे बैठने को बहुत पसंद है. मतलब कभी कुछ मन किया, प्रोटेस्ट निकाल दिए. सोल्यूशन चाहिए नहीं ना, चाहिए ही नहीं. क्यों? वाई वुड वी वांट अ सोल्यूशन? है, खेती बाड़ी तो कौन करेगा? हमें तो कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं. हमें तो प्रोटेस्ट में इंटरेस्ट है, क्योंकि खालिस्तान हमें सपोर्ट कर रहा है. वहां से पैसा आ रहा है, फॉरेन फंडिंग आ रही है, टुकड़े टुकड़े आ रहे हैं, सब हमें फंडिंग दे रहे हैं. सो वाई डू वी नीड टू फार्म? वी जस्ट नीड टू प्रोटेस्ट, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली फंडिंग मिल रहा है ना. तो दैट्स हाउ इट इज. Godi Media तो भाई, they don't research, that's one part, and they don't want to research, that's another part. So let's get to the Supreme Court now. Now let's understand what is the job of the Supreme Court. A job of the Supreme Court is to check if a law is constitutional or unconstitutional, whether it goes with the constitution or not. That is their job. So checking the constitutionality of the law, भाई साहब वो तो काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, दूसरे ही काम में घुसड़ गए कि they will handle the executive part because अरे हम हैं ना, हमें सब आता है. Now, do you remember the laws which were passed in the Rajya Sabha and how it was passed through the voice vote and all? I have explained that properly in this video. You can go and check it out. In the end of the video is there, where they did a voice vote and they passed the laws. When people asked for actual voting also, they didn't ultimately give the actual voting. The way the bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha was unconstitutional in the first place. Article 100 of the Indian Constitution says that all questions at any sitting of either house shall be determined by a majority of votes of the members present and voting. Majority can be determined only in terms of number, and therefore what the article requires that all questions in the house should be determined by recording the votes of the members present and voting. Majority cannot be determined through voice vote. पर यहाँ तो वॉइस वोट कर दिया था इन द राज्यसभा. इनफैक्ट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया डजंट recognize voice vote as a proper system of vote. So the farm bills passed in the Rajya Sabha were a violation of the Article 100 of the Constitution. So the court can strike down the law as it doesn't fulfill the requirement of Article 107. Article 107 says that a bill shall not be deemed to have been passed unless it has been agreed to by both houses. In fact, many petitioners even asked the Supreme Court to test the constitutionality of the law. पर judiciary और constitution गया तेल लेने, we will take the matter in our own hands and we will become the executive and we will mediate. मतलब in the first go itself they can just strike down the law, but क्या फर्क पड़ता है, हम तो judiciary है, हम तो जो करना है वो करेंगे. So this interference which the Supreme Court has done in this executive, it is sending a very wrong message to the public, as it has overstepped its boundaries and become the executive, which it shouldn't be doing. And in turn, it weakens the farmer protest by giving relief to the government. As you know, the committee is supposed to give the response in 2 months. In 2 months. So for 2 months, the government's pressure on them, which was being built up by these protests, has been released because of the interference of the Supreme Court. I don't know if it was done intentionally or unintentionally, but this is what is happening. Ultimately, the pressure on the government has been released for 2 months. And for how long will the protests continue? How long they ultimately have to go and farm and all that? How long will they stay there? 2 months of extra buffer period the government has got. And the Supreme Court is very well being specific about, they are just staying the implementation of the law and not striking down the law because it's unconstitutional and all, just staying the implementation of the law. So all this what the Supreme Court has done is ultimately hitting the democratic rights of the protesters. And the protests are between the farmers and the government. It should hold the government responsible, not the court responsible. So the court had zero job over here and didn't need to interfere over there. So even though the Supreme Court isn't directly stopping the protests, it is indirectly hitting the protests. Now let's come to the committee formed by the Supreme Court. हमारे बोबड़े साहब ने एक unbiased committee बनाई which comprised of 4 experts from the field. The weird part of that committee is that all 4 committee members have in the past come openly in support of the new farm laws. Now let's come to these 4 committee members who are there. Now the first committee member is Anil Ghanwat. Anil Ghanwat said there is no need to withdraw these laws which have opened up opportunities for farmers. Then the second committee member is Bhupender Singh Mann. He said that reforms are needed in order to make agriculture competitive, but safeguards are needed to protect farmers and anomalies must also be corrected. I am recusing myself from the committee and I will always stand with my farmers and Punjab. So he was a part of this committee, but he ultimately came out because of the backlash which the committee was facing. Then another committee member, Ashok Gulati. The Modi government deserves compliments for finally introducing reforms in the country's agri-marketing system. Hey, kya baat? Then Pramod Kumar Joshi. It is regrettable that the farmers' agitation has not been resolved despite the centre's positive response on considering genuine demands. Shame on the farmers. Support Joshi. Joshi knows the real benefit of the farm laws. So these four people have been appointed as a committee members. अरे ऐसे थोड़ी ना होगा यार. You take anyone and put it. छोड़ो अभी. So these four supporters of the farm bills are going to give an unbiased opinion on the farm bills. क्या बात है यार, ये क्या है? कुछ भी मतलब. And let's see whatever the decision the committee gives. You don't know what the implications are going to be of that decision. So for an example, let's take the committee goes against the farm laws. Like that is rarely to happen, but it goes against the farm laws. So then is the government just supposed to repeal the laws? If they go for the farm laws, then are the farmers supposed to stop their protests? Then if they suggest modifications in the law, then are both of them supposed to accept what modifications this committee gives? You don't know anything. This committee ka what use is going to happen? यहाँ में कुछ भी नहीं पता है. Now the farmers have said that they won't be a part of this committee. Now will this be a problem for the farmers? You don't know. You don't know anything. What's happening right now? You have zero idea. But one thing is for sure, that it is going to be a big hit on the Supreme Court if whatever it's trying to do and something doesn't happen according to that, then it's going to be an extremely big hit on the Supreme Court. CAA had bigger protests than the farmer protests, then even abrogation of Article 370, even that had a lot of protests. Supreme Court that time didn't decide to enter into these protests and put a stay on these laws. The cases regarding that are pending for more than a year. Okay? So all this which is happening is raising a lot of questions on the Supreme Court and why they are doing it, and why this selective approach, and why this weird judgments. And again, it raises the question if they are unbiased or no. So I hope I've clarified the whole Supreme Court thing. What are the boundaries of the Supreme Court and what it should be doing and what instead it is doing. And that's about it. Thank you everyone for watching the video. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.